So I finally got the iPhone 13 Pro. However, I really was waiting to upgrade to the iPhone 14, but since my iPhone X actually cracked and the screen stopped working, I had to update. So I wanted to make this video to just talk about kind of the comparisons I've found from iPhone 13 Pro to the iPhone X. Should you upgrade? Is it worth the upgrade? Or for those of you still holding out for the iPhone 14, kind of my thoughts on the current state of iPhone. So obviously my iPhone is dead. The screen won't turn on, which is why I did it. But one of the first things some people consider is the size. It's actually smaller. The iPhone X was, and I had it without a case, so that could be why it is in the current state it's at, which is real banged up. So for those considering the iPhone mini, that could be something. If size is the most important factor to you, you could go to the iPhone 13 mini. For me, I kind of wanted to have the optical zoom, which is what I preferred. The difference here is that the iPhone X has the 2x zoom, while the iPhone 13 Pro has the option for a 3x zoom. Overall, from my camera perspective and taking some videos, what you guys see on my Instagram, on my personal stuff, it's pretty much been what you'd expect. Depends on if people record on Instagram or not, or on the camera. Now, in terms of kind of one of the most noticeable features that is different is the iPhone 13 Pro Motion. So you're not really, might not be able to really see showcase it here in the uh, with a 30 FPS video. But there are other videos I could link to in the descriptions that really showcase, this feature. And I guess this comes down to also if you play video games or not. Can you determine if a 144 hertz screen or even the ProMotion on the new M1 Pro Max or M1 Pros, can you see that difference there? Whether or not that's a factor for upgrading. I think if you're on the iPhone X, you probably could hold out on some of these things. So ultimately, I would say, just quick thoughts, quick reviews is that I was really forced to update because the screen stopped working. I guess one of the challenges there is if you want to migrate, so you're considering updating, one thing to know about migration, how to migrate from the phone is a lot of times when you set up a new phone, I could link to some videos, but basically there's like a transfer overview. You use a QR code I would scan on the iPhone, this new phone, and it would transfer everything over. So obviously with the screen broken, you're kind of SOL. And if you're not using iCloud backup, really you have to set up by default. And probably one of the biggest things I'd wish I'd known when upgrading is, so I use kind of this thing called Authenticator, which is like the two-factor. So you can see all my codes right now, all the stuff I use. So actually, I thought that I was auto backing up, but it wasn't backing up. And then when I had backed up, it didn't have all the things I had. So if you use something for two-factor authentication, what I wish I knew when I was updating is make sure your backups are on, because uh, you can't log into any of your accounts if you don't have the right two-factor authentication. And because I wasn't able to transfer things over, well, that was like a big fear of mine. And another thing is, like, if you do any crypto, make sure you know your wallets and stuff like that. Because um, I have some crypto wallets on. I'm using like iOS instead of hard storage, so I didn't have some of my private keys. Luckily, if you're in the situation I was in, my phone still worked. You could connect it to an HDMI output, and like my screen wasn't really working at all, even though like it wasn't physically turning on. The touch wasn't also working, so I had some trouble kind of getting my keys off transferred. Um, Luckily, there's also a feature to connect a mouse to your iPhone, so that was one thing I was able to do. So in terms of kind of just usability and stuff like that, I think most people just use iPhones because it's simple. I mean, most people are just taking videos, posting on Instagram, stuff like that. I don't think you're gonna notice too much of a difference. Probably another in thing that pushed me over the edge of what I thought about updating was the battery life. When I would use my old iPhone X, it was overheating when using Google Maps. Um, Google Maps is running fine on where I'm at, and then it would always like kind of not last that long. I would be go snowboarding, and I wish I had more battery. I would have to bring an external battery with the iPhone X, iPhone 13 Pro. It's working pretty fine. So kind of just some thoughts for people considering updating is, if you want promotion, if you want battery life, the iPhone X isn't kind of lasting that long. That could be a consideration. And then if you do decide to update, depending on if you like size or not, iPhone mini might be a choice for some people because not a lot of people either need the optical zoom or they need the ProMotion. So those are the two factors considering. And then kind of a recap on what I wish I knew was that make sure you're if you can't back it up or transfer, make sure that your two-factor authentication is set right, and make sure that if you do any like highly important stuff with like crypto or whatnot, make sure you know your backup keys. So kind of a quick talk. You guys let me know what you are, if you're thinking about waiting for the iPhone 14 or not, or if you're ready to update mid-cycle. I was kind of forced to update mid-cycle, so let me know in the comments below. See you guys in the next video. Peace.